biker's trip, northern Scotland, just for a couple of days. Got 9 bikes in a car, and it's going to be a bit of a Goldwing users review as well. Maybe splitting some information out there. It's a 6-cylinder flat 6, 120 horsepower touring bike. A very nice bike to ride. 4 suspension settings, and they're very differentiated. Can't say I've used the economy yet, but the touring mode is a do-all mode. The rain mode is fantastic in wet conditions. It just softens everything up. And then you've got a sport mode, which is very sporty. Huge difference in gear shifting. We were in Applecross and single track roads, and one suggestion was to use sport mode coming down the hills and the narrow roads, but it's quite aggressive, so it was easier to operate the bike using the downshift on my left thumb here. As you're coming into corners, it stays in automatic, but you can drop it a couple of gears and then come out fine. The DCT handles it all, so it works really well. The controls, lots of controls on the left hand switch and the right hand switch. You've got no clutch lever, which I keep looking for, of course, with the automatic gearbox, but you've basically got the horn. People complain about the size of that button, but I find the thumb rotates onto it quite easily just above the turn indicators. And above that you've got calls, you can voice calls, you've got a home button, and you've got a set of controls here on the left hand side where you can zoom in and zoom out at navigation screens, or select what system menu you want to have on. So it works well. You've got the upshift and downshift, forward and back, which again can override the automatic. Also very nice. On the right hand side you've got a cruise control feature. You drive, you've got the mode button, this top right hand button, important one. Go from tour to rain, economy or sport. It takes a few seconds to engage and set, but a very nice feature, and really does change the riding style of the bike significantly. There's a panel in the middle here. A lot of it's deactivated when you're riding. Put a couple of great buttons on there, one for the spots on the bottom, and the other one you can flick the audio between the speakers and the headset. Speakers on a bike you would think is pretty daft, but even at cruising speeds, 50, 60, is very clear, and lots of powerful wattage. Works really well. So a bit of countryside driving, heading south inside Port Soy area, I guess. I've had a bit of rain here, not expecting much for the next 2 days, which is good. And the Spey River, very nice. Busy road. So user comments, just to need to know, when I bought my first pair of gloves, jumped on the bike, I couldn't control these switches here. They were about a quarter inch too long on the finger, so you want a thumb that's to the end of your glove to have any chance of moving around these controls on the left hand side. Summer gloves are great, they're relatively thin, so it's kind of easy to do. Yeah, definitely that. I've had some battery problems draining. I don't see much on YouTube about that, so I'm not sure exactly what the problem is. So I bought a small jump battery which I carry around, and I've had to use that a couple of times as the battery drains overnight. I need to go back, maybe a bad cell, all the rest of it, and have the dealer under warranty sort that one out. It's been in once before and they said no problem, but you know, it's a 20 amp hour 250 cranking amps, which sounds enough, but it seems to me, the experience, that you need all of that 250 cranking amps. You can't afford the battery depleting to 75%. It won't turn over this big engine, it would seem. But the jury's still out a bit. But the one interesting thing I can again show a little later is, and I thought this was the problem, is the key. The key, it's keyless ignition, so there's a circular button in the middle of the key with Honda written on it. If you touch that button once, you're supposed to see 3 red flashes on the key ring. That means the key is active. If you grip that key ring, in 2 seconds you switch the key off and you walk to the bike won't start, you think it's a flat battery, you think it's whatever, and you just don't have a key that's operating. You've switched it off, and you need to switch it back on by pushing that button in for a couple of seconds, tapping it again to see 3 flashes, and that small LED. So that's potentially an issue. The other fun bit was that when the battery went flat, I thought I'll just go and check the battery to make sure that's the issue. You can't do that without opening the rear left pannier. You can't open the rear left pannier if your battery's flat because it's electric switch. So you have a spare key in the key fob. There's a little indent in the side. You push that indent in the side and pops the key out, and you go to the back of the bike, and above the red brake light there's a plastic strip you pull off, and you got a keyhole there. You turn that and the left pannier opens. So that's good, but you've got your charger in the top pannier, so you look around, and like I did, spend 20 minutes trying to figure out there must be a way of getting it open from here. And indeed there's a pull cord inside that left pannier, and you pull that cord, it's kind of top right, and you open the right hand pannier, pops open. That's great, but you're still not at the top, so you go around the right pannier and you find another pull cord, you pull it and the top pannier opens. So yeah, that's kind of interesting, but it can all be done. But you know, when I thought I had the flat battery problem, the bike wouldn't start. Didn't seem to be any activity. We got the panniers open, we were about to jump start, and a friend said, a local biker, very good on YouTube, came up and said, you know, you've got the emergency start, which I did remember. I'd photographed the 9-digit code that comes with the key, and basically you hold this start button down for a few seconds, you hear a double beep or a beep, and at that point you bizarrely tap the button on the right hand side pocket here under the fairing where you have the fuel cap release, bizarrely. But you tap that opening button 5 times, the number 5, hit the start button again, beep, next number, whatever it is, 9 times on that button, beep. When you get to the end of that sequence, in my case the bike fired up, so it wasn't a flat battery, some other electrical problem that's as yet still unresolved. So that was kind of an interesting experience. It is in the manual somewhere. There are YouTube videos that show you the sequence by some good YouTubers on Goldwings. But anyway, it's worth remembering. Yeah, but first thing, check your keys actually active and in zone. We thought it was a flat battery in the key. It's a 2032 lithium battery in the key. So the other thing we did here was take it home, took the other key down. Yes, it started the bike, so it must be the battery. Took the battery out of the key fob, about to throw it away, checked the voltage, 2.99 volts, so it wasn't the battery, it was fine. Something else. So I'm still going around in circles there. Any ideas? Thank you very much. Last night we had a trickle charger on it. It was green. Got up in the morning, shut it off, got up in the morning, stuck it on, it was orange. So there was some depletion of the battery in 6 or 8 hours. Is it the tracker? Which is so arriving in Lossiemouth, another stop for a pee and a cup of tea, and then we'll be heading west to Loch Ness, Inverness, that general area. A few more miles to go yet.